commit or to have committed the offense of corruption and corrupt practices. 1. If he accepts or obtains from any person or offers any gratification directly or indirectly other than legal remuneration as a motive or reward, such as is specified in Section 161 of the Pakistan Penal Code, for doing or for forbearing to do any official act, or for showing or forbearing to show in the exercise of his official functions favor or disfavor, or for rendering or attempting to render any service or disservice to any person. Or 2. If he accepts or obtains or offers any valuable thing without consideration or for a consideration which he knows to be inadequate from any person whom he knows to have been or likely to be concerned in any proceedings or business transacted or about to be transacted by him, or having any connection with his official functions, or from any person whom he knows to be interested in or related to the person so concerned. Or 3. If he dishonestly or fraudulently misappropriates or otherwise converts for his own use or for the use of any other person any property entrusted to him or under his control, or willfully allows any other person so to do. Or 4. If he by corrupt, dishonest or illegal means obtains or seeks to obtain for himself or for his spouse or dependents or any other person any property, valuable things or pecuniary advantage. Or 5. If he or any of his dependents or other benamidars through corrupt and dishonest means owns, possesses or acquires rights or title in assets substantially or disproportionate to his known source of income, which he cannot reasonably account for. Explanation 1. The valuation of immovable property shall be reckoned on the date of purchase, either according to the actual price shown in the relevant title documents or the applicable rates prescribed by district collector or the Federal Board of Revenue, whichever is higher. No evidence in contrary to the latter shall be admissible. Explanation 2. For the purpose of calculation of movable assets, the sum total of credit entries of bank account shall not be treated as an asset. Bank balance of an account on the date of initiation of inquiry may be treated as a movable asset. A banking transaction shall not be treated as an asset unless there is evidence of creation of corresponding asset through that transaction. 6. If he intentionally misuses his authority by disregarding law so as monetary benefit or favor for himself or any other person related to him or on his behalf. Explanation 1. That an act done in good faith and in discharge of duties and performance of official functions shall not constitute an offence under this clause. Explanation 2. That nothing shall be an offence of misuse of authority unless it is proved through material evidence that the holder of public office has gained any monetary benefit or asset from the person in whose favor the act of misuse of authority has been rendered. Explanation 3. That the authority of the holder of a public office shall be clearly specified as per the applicable government rules and regulations. 7. Omitted. 8. If he commits an offence of willful default. Or 9. If he commits the offence of cheating as defined in Section 415 of Pakistan Penal Code 1860 and thereby dishonestly induces members of public at large to deliver any property including money or valuable security to any person, provided that nothing shall be an offence under Clause 9 unless it is established that there was an intention of cheating at the time of initiation of a transaction. Explanation. The civil and commercial disputes between parties shall not be triable under provisions of this ordinance. Illustration 1. A runs a Ponzi scheme and gives profit to its investors with intent to allure public. A is said to have committed cheating. Illustration 2. A receives investments in a lawful business and continued to pay agreed profits to the investor. Later, the business runs into losses and a default on his obligation. A has not committed cheating. 10. If he commits the offence of criminal breach of trust as defined in Section 405 of Pakistan Penal Code 1860 with regard to any property including money or valuable security entrusted to him by members of the public at large. 11. If he in his capacity as a banker, merchant, factor, broker, attorney or agent commits criminal breach of trust as provided in Section 409 of Pakistan Penal Code 1860 in respect of property entrusted to him or over which he has dominion. And 12. If he aids, assists, abets, attempts or acts in conspiracy with a person or a holder of public office accused of an offence as provided in clauses 1 to 11. B. Subject to the provisions contained in section 439, 496, 497, 498 and 498A of the code, no court other than the court established under this ordinance shall have powers to grant bail or order release. If after completing the investigation of an offence against a holder of public office or any other person, the chairman NAB is satisfied that no prima facie case is made out against him and the case may be closed, the chairman NAB shall refer the matter to the court for approval and for the release of the accused, if in custody. D. The closure of an inquiry or investigation shall be communicated to the accused, and such inquiry and investigation shall not be reopened without prior permission of the court.
Minister of Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
Sir, I must appreciate the young parliamentarian. उन्होंने बड़ी मेहनत करके और मेरे ख्याल में जो ये कोर्ट डिसीजंस आए हैं जो मैं बात कर रहा था कि सिंपली अथॉरिटी की एक्सरसाइज करते हुए गलती करने पे जेल में ना डालें जब तक करप्शन और करप्ट प्रैक्टिस की एविडेंस ना हो, और जो असासों की बढ़ोतरी और कमी में उस वक्त तक जुर्म नहीं होगा जब तक कि वो करप्ट प्रैक्टिस के साथ ना मिले। ये वो सारे अदालती फैसले थे, मैं रात एग्जामिन कर रहा था। वी मस्ट अप्रिशिएट द मूवर कि उन्होंने बड़ी मेहनत से ये तैयार की है। वी डोंट अपोज इट।
Now I put the amendment as moved by Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja to the House. The question is that amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and clause 7 as amended stands part of the bill. Insertion of new clause 7A. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 7A standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Husnain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja to move the amendment.
I beg to move that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021 as reported by the Standing Committee, after clause 7 the following new clause shall be inserted, namely 7A, amendment of section 10 Ordinance 18 of 1999. In the ordinance in section 10, A, in subsection A for the figure 14, the word 14 shall be substituted. B, in subsection A for full stop at the end, a colon shall be substituted, and thereafter the following proviso shall be added, namely, provided that the convict shall be entitled to benefit under section 382 BOF the code, and C, subsection D shall be omitted.
G, Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
Sir, I don't oppose it जी, it's quite reasonable जी, और ये भी उसी हवाले से उसी तनाज़र में है जो पहले मैंने अर्ज़ किया था।
Now I put the amendment as moved by Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja to the House. The question is that the amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 7A stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 7B standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Husnain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Mohtarma Shahida Akhtar Ali to move the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to move that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021 as reported by the Standing Committee, after clause 7A as inserted above, the following new clause shall be inserted, namely 7B, omission of section 14 Ordinance Roman 18 of 1999 in the Ordinance section 14 shall be omitted. Thank you.
No, sir, I don't
Minister
oppose
for
it.
Law and Justice, do you
I
oppose it?
don't oppose it. ये जो इन्होंने मिलके कोई amendment बनाई है, सर उस scheme में fit in होता है. You don't oppose it.
Now I put the amendment as moved by Mohtarma Shahida Akhtar Ali to the House. The question is that amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 7B stands part of the bill. There is an amendment in clause 9 standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Husnain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Mohtarma Shahida Akhtar Ali to move the amendment. नहीं फिर पहले बताया करें, अभी उन्हीं को करते। ओके, सैयद हुसैन तारिक साहब।
हाँ भले उनको दे दें सर, इट्स नॉट एन इशू। थैंक यू सर।
सैयद हुसैन तारिक साहब का माइक खोले प्लीज।
Thank you, sir.
Move the amendment.
I rise to move that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021, as reported by the Standing Committee in Clause 9 for the proposed Section 16, the following shall be substituted, namely 16, case management and trial of offences, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law for the time being in force. An accused shall be prosecuted for an offence under this ordinance in the court established under this ordinance, and the case shall be disposed of within 1 year. B. The court shall sit at such place or places as the federal government may by order specify in this behalf. C. Where more courts than one have been established at a place, the Chief Justice of the High Court of the province concerned shall designate a judge of any such court to be an administrative judge, and a case triable under this ordinance shall be filed before the court of the administrative judge, who may either try the case himself or assign it for trial by any other court established at that place at any time prior to the framing of the charge. D. In respect of a case assigned to a court under subsection C, all orders made or proceedings taken before the assignment shall be deemed to have been made or taken by the court to which the case has been assigned. E. Notwithstanding anything contained in this section, if in respect of any case relating to an offence triable under this ordinance, the Chairman NAB, having regard to the facts and circumstances of the case, may file a reference before any court established anywhere in Pakistan, and such court shall have the jurisdiction to try the same.
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
नहीं सर, ये फेयर इनाफ है जी। इसमें एक तो वो एक नॉमिनी ख़त्म की गई सर, 30 दिन था कानून में, मैंने देखा है। कोर्ट्स भी कहती थी कि आज तक सर जब से नैब बना 30 दिन में कोई रेफरेंस जो है कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ। 1 साल रीजनेबल टाइम है ताकि कानून से मजाक ना किया जाए, और जो दो बाकी तरमीम है वी सपोर्ट इट इस क्लॉज को।
Now I put the amendment as moved by Mr. Sayyid Hussain Tariq Sahab to the House. The question is that amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and clause 9 as amended stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 9A standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Husnain, Sayyid. Now I call upon Sayyid Hussain Tariq to move the amendment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much once again. I rise to move that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021, as reported by the Standing Committee, after Clause 9, the following new Clause 9A shall be inserted, namely 9A, Amendment of Section 18, Ordinance 18 of 1999. In the ordinance in Section 18A, In subsection C, for the expression or investigation, the expression, if after completion of inquiry the allegations of commission of an offence under this ordinance are substantiated with material evidence, the matter shall be converted into investigation, provided that the report of the inquiry shall be provided to the accused. B, in subsection D, the letters NAB at the end shall be omitted. C, subsection E shall be omitted, sir. D, in subsection F, for the words expeditiously as may be practical and feasible, the words within 6 months shall be substituted, sir. Thank you.
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
जी सर, मैंने देखा है, ये फिर बड़ी जायज़ बात है सर। इंक्वायरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए कोई वक्त ही मुकर्रर नहीं था और साल हा साल लोगों को उस चुंगल में फंसा के उन्हें ब्लैकमेल किया जाता था। नैब ने 4-4 साल भी इंक्वायरीज की, इन्वेस्टिगेशंस बुलाया भेज दिया, बुलाया भेज दिया। इस कानून के ज़रिए 6 माह की हद मुकर्रर कर दी गई है कि आपने इंक्वायरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन 6 माह में मुकम्मल करनी है ताकि किसी मासूम शख्स पे ये तलवार जो indefinitely ना लटक सके। I support this, sir.
Thank you. Now I put the amendment as moved by Sayyid Hussain Tariq to the House. The question is that the amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 9A stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 9B standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Hussain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Mr. Agha Rafiullah to move the amendment.
शुक्रिया सर। मैं तहरीक पेश करता हूँ कि कायमा कमेटी की रिपोर्ट करदा सूरत में कौमी एहतसाब तरमीम दोम बिल 2021 में हस्ब बाला शामिल करदा शिक 9 अलिफ के बाद हस्ब झेल नई शिक 9 बे शामिल कर दी जाएगी, यानी 9 बे ऑर्डिनेंस नंबर 18 बाबत 1999 दफ़ा 21 की तरमीम ऑर्डिनेंस में दफ़ा 21 में शिक दाल में नीम शरह की बाद लफ्ज़ और का इजाफ़ा कर दिया जाएगा और इसके बाद शिक जे हज़फ कर दी जाएगी। शुक्रिया।
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
जनाब स्पीकर, आज मुझे अपनी उर्दू से कम इल्मी का बहुत शिद्दत से एहसास हुआ है। अगर तो यही सही तर्जुमा है जो अंग्रेजी में मैंने पढ़ा है, डोंट अपोज इट।
Now I put the amendment as moved by Sayyid Agha Rafiullah to the House. The question is that amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 9B stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 9C standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Javed Hussain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Sayyid Agha Rafiullah to move the amendment.
शुक्रिया जनाब स्पीकर। मैं तहरीक पेश करता हूँ कि कायमा कमेटी की रिपोर्ट करदा सूरत में कौमी एहतसाब तरमीम दोम बिल 2021 में हस्ब बाला शामिल करदा शिक 9 के बाद हस्ब झेल नई शिक शामिल कर दी जाएगी, यानी 9 जीम आर्डिनेंस नंबर 18 बाबत 1999 दफ़ा 23 का हज़फ करना, आर्डिनेंस में दफ़ा 23 को हज़फ कर दिया जाएगा। शुक्रिया।
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
नो सर, आई डोंट अपोज इट जी। और ये सर जरा आसान भी थी उर्दू।
Okay. Now I put the amendment as moved by Sayyid Agha Rafiullah to the House. The question is that the amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 9C stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 9D standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khwaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Hasnain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNAs. Now I call upon Mohtarma Shahida Akhtar Ali to move the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to move the clause 9D, amendment in 9D, that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021 as reported by the Standing Committee after clause 9C as inserted above, the following new clause shall be inserted, namely 9D, substitution of the Section 24 Ordinance Roman 18 of 1999 in the Ordinance for Section 24, the following shall be substituted, namely 24, arrest. A, the chairman NAB may issue warrant of arrest during the course of investigation under this ordinance if, number 1, Roman 1, the accused is intentionally or willfully not joining the investigation after repeated notices. Roman 2, the accused is attempting to abscond. The Roman 3, there are sufficient grounds for the accused would tamper with the prosecution evidence. Or Roman 4, there is credible information regarding repetition or continuation of offences under this ordinance. B, if the chairman NAB or an officer of the NAB duly authorized by him decides to refer the case of the court for such reference along with report of investigation, officer shall contain the substance of the offence or offences as the case may be alleged to have been committed by the accused, and a copy of such reference to which the case has been sent to try the accused, and another copy shall be delivered to the accused. C, the provisions of subsection A shall also apply to cases which have already been referred to the court. D, notwithstanding anything contained in the code where the holder of the public office or any other as may be informed him to the grounds and substance on the basis of which he has been arrested, and produce him before the court within a period of 24 hours of arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to the court, and such person shall, having regard to the fact, the circumstances of the case, be liable to be detained in the custody of the NAB, for the purpose of inquiry and investigations for a period not exceeding 14 days. Thank you.
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
एग्जामन करके ही आज जो शुरू में थोड़ा सा बयान दिया था कि कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा मिसयूज और रिमांड था, तो हमारे इन साथियों ने बड़ी मेहनत के साथ ये जो अमेंडमेंट तैयार की है। रिमांड की मुद्दत 90 दिन से 14 रोज़ कर दी गई, जो कि पूरे पाकिस्तान में दीगर जराइम के लिए है और संगीन तरीन जराइम के लिए भी 14 दिन है। इसी तरह सर इसमें उन्होंने ये इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया कि जो अरेस्ट के लिए ग्राउंड्स क्या होंगी, कि कब अरेस्ट करना ज़रूरी है। ये अदालत उस्मा ने 7 रुकनी और 5 रुकनी 2 जजमेंट्स दी, और उन्होंने कहा हर केस में ये शर्त नहीं समझ लेना चाहिए कि इधर केस हुआ उधर गिरफ्तारी हो जाए। तो ये वो सेफ गार्ड्स हैं जो आईने पाकिस्तान देता है, जो अदालतों ने दिए थे। तो आई सपोर्ट जी।
Now I put the amendment as moved by Mohtarma Shahida Akhtar Ali to the House. The question is that the amendment as moved be adopted. All those जी असलम बोतानी साहब, आप अपने माइक पे जाएं।
सर जो सफिशिएंट ग्राउंड्स हैं उसकी डेफिनेशन क्या है? वो तो फिर नैब कहेगी हमारे पास सफिशिएंट ग्राउंड्स हैं, तो हमें, मैं मिनिस्टर साहब से कहता हूं कि सफिशिएंट ग्राउंड्स को एलाबोरेट करें कि जी क्या है ना सफिशिएंट ग्राउंड्स ना।
जी,
इस तरह
मिनिस्टर
तो
फॉर लॉ एंड जस्टिस, विल
उसमें
यू
उसको
एक्सप्लेन
अमेंड
इट?
करें सर इसकी।
मैंने सर सुबह इनके साथ बैठ के ये बिल्कुल एग्जामिन किया। सफिशेंट ग्राउंड्स जो बुतानी साहब बहुत सारी केसेस में बेतहाशा मुकदमात में और कवानीन में बयान की गई हैं, वो चीज़ सफिशेंट ग्राउंड्स में आएगी जिसको साबित करने के लिए कॉमन सेंस के साथ जो आप बात करें। कोई एक मिसाल मसलन ले लेते हैं, वो कहते हैं जी ये तफ्तीश ज्वाइन नहीं कर रहा। अब इसके लिए सफिशेंट ग्राउंड्स ये हैं कि आप ये साबित करें कि हमने नोटिस दिया, फिर ये साबित करें कि नोटिस इस तक पहुंचा, फिर ये साबित करें कि नोटिस वसूल करने के बावजूद इसने तफ्तीश ज्वाइन नहीं की।
ऑर्डर इन द
तो ये
हाउस,
सफिशिएंट ग्राउंड्स है
ऑनरेबल
सर। ये
मेंबर।
मैंने एग्जामिन किया और उसके बाद सर नहीं होगा इंशाल्लाह सर। ना सर देखें, मिस यूज सर जिन्होंने मतलब निकालने होते हैं वो तो आसमानी सहीफों से भी निकाल लेते। नहीं सर, ये आइन के मुनाफी कोई चीज़ हम नहीं डाल सकते कानून में। ये इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसी का इख्तियार है कि वो मुनासिब अप्रोप्रिएट केसेस में गिरफ्तार करे। मैंने देखा है मूवर्स ने बड़ी मेहनत की, और जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान के रीसेंट जजमेंट है गुलाम हुसैन केस है 7 जजेस मेंबर का, उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि हर केस में ना गिरफ्तार करें और इसको इस इख्तियार को रन ऑफ मिल केसेस में नहीं लेना चाहिए। तो ये उसके ऐन मुताबिक।
Thank you. The question is that the amendment as moved be adopted. All those in favor of it may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think the ayes have it, and consequently the amendment is adopted and new clause 9D stands part of the bill. There is an amendment for insertion of new clause 9E standing in the name of Mr. Mohsen Nawaz Raja, Ms. Shiza Fatma Khaja, Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali, Sayyid Agha Rafiullah, Sayyid Javed Hasnain, Sayyid Hussain Tariq MNS. Now I call upon Ms. Shahida Akhtar Ali to move the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to move that in the National Accountability Second Amendment Bill 2021 as reported by the Standing Committee, after clause 9D as inserted above, the following new clause shall be inserted, namely 9E, amendment of section 25 ordinance Roman 18 of 1999 in the ordinance in section 25 in subsection B for full stop at the end a colon shall be substituted, and thereafter the proviso shall be added, namely provided that the statement or witness of any accused entering into plea bargain or voluntarily return shall not prejudice case of any other accused. Thank you.
Minister for Law and Justice, do you oppose it?
सर ये एक अच्छी तजवीज़ है और इस पर CRPC का जो कानून है हमारा वो भी बिल्कुल इसको सपोर्ट करता है, अदालती फैसले। सर होता ये है कि ये जो प्ली बारगेन और वॉलंटरी रिटर्न में लोगों के खिलाफ मुकदमा बनाया, उस दिया कि आप वादा माफ बन जाओ, उसको घर भेज दिया और उसकी शहादत की बुनियाद पे बाकी सबको पकड़ के बिठा लिया। ज़ाब्ता फौजदारी की जो कानून है वो कुछ फ़र्क है, उसका उसके दूसरे के केस पे फ़र्क नहीं आता, और इसी वजह से इसको